Alright. This is like the most insane looking curve thing I've ever seen. But it's funny. I'm surprised I haven't seen more of the... In fact, it took me till, what, like 2 days ago to realize this was in the game. It's a... Quorum? I was about to call it Crom. Quorum the Undertaker. 4 mana 0/5. It gets plus X plus O, where X is the greatest power among creatures in all graveyards. So if your opponent has Ulamog, it's a 10/5. If you have Ulamog, it's a 10/5. And then when it swings, each person mills 1 card. And then each of your turns, you can play a land and cast a spell from among things that were milled. So you can cast the... I didn't even really notice that. You can actually cast your opponent's spells. So that's kind of cool. It doesn't have an ETB. I really wish it did, but it doesn't. So it has to swing, and it's a 4 mana card that could potentially swing with no power. But swinging with no power is not the issue. It's mostly just trying to cast a 4 mana commander that doesn't do anything, and then untapping with it and swinging with it, and maybe doing something crazy. But I suppose, yeah, you can steal your opponent's spells. There are some cycling things. Actually, I shouldn't even say some. There's a bunch of, like, cycling cards, if I can find one, like this. So you can pretty easily put it to, like, 6 or 7 very quickly. There's a ton of these. I don't know how many I'm supposed to run. I think you should run the bare minimum. So you have, like, 1 every game on average. I think I have, like, 7 or something. But there's like 25 you can play. I'm just playing what I think are like the best ones and the minimum amount of them, because you don't get anything from the second one, right? It only cares about the largest thing. So if it's either a 6 or a 7 cycled, it doesn't matter if you've done it 5 times. You ideally want to just sort of do it once and not have your deck full of like pack filling draft commons. So that's what I'm doing. But some are very interesting, like the one that gives trample to your commander and is 11. This one is extremely significant. It's like the best one. And when I played against this, after having never seen it in my life, of course it had the best one. So that's interesting. But there's another interesting one as well. It's the... maybe I don't have it in here anymore. That is really the standout-ish one. There's one that gives, like, a first strike counter, and then one that gives it, like, trample or something, but only temporary, and you also, like, those ones need this in play already, so you can't, like, cycle ahead of time, and you're probably going to do that anyways, right? So, with the exception of this one. So, with the bare minimum of that thing, but I have Slimefoot, I have Palantir to, like, mill. I don't like Mesmeric Orb. Yeah, you can mill yourself a lot. You can, I guess, reanimate whatever you mill if you have that card and you didn't mill reanimate. But there's a lot of the time milling your opponent is not a good idea, because almost 90%, if not more, it's probably more, of commander decks do something with their graveyard, whether it's like Uro or anything. So all you're doing is filling your opponent's graveyard as well, and I don't think we're going to struggle with accomplishing the thing. So I'm not going to play Mesmeric Orb. You could. It might end up being the only way this actually works. But right now I'm not going to put that in here. It's a green deck, so it has all the ramp spells. It is interesting to... Well, I should say it is something you probably have to do, which is try to win without this, because it is susceptible to being answered forever. So you need something else to do. And I think ramping into funny big things is cool, not just simply milling them so your other funny thing becomes the funny big thing. But it's alright. Tiny Bones, I mean, maybe. But yeah, so we have the Reanimate package, Defense of the Heart. This is a green ramp spell that has red in it, so Godo Helm makes sense to me. Also, this is a deck, again, where Helm actually can go on to something else as well and be pretty spooky. You got Defense, you got that. Grief is really good. It exiles the card, but it's still Grief, right? You can cheat death it, you can reanimate it, you can just blow someone's opening hand completely out of the water. You could probably put Ragavan in here too. I mean, at this point, one could argue Exploration is just better than Ragavan, and I don't play Ragavan because it leads to games that I can't really put on YouTube because no one wants to watch me swing with Ragavan turn 1 and my opponent concede. And Exploration kind of does that as well. But hey, they're in the format, everyone else gets to play with them. I want to play with them sometimes too. But no Boreal Grazer again. Could be wrong because I have Flare. But it feels like Grazer has... I've run out of lands really fast with like so many of these effects now. I'm just running out of lands in hand, and then I got nothing to do. But, I don't know, Grazer's okay, right? I mean, it's in every green deck ever. It's just not in this one. There's Journey, which is cool. You could run Virtue as well. I took out the Terminus of No Return, or for you paper truthers, I was going to call it the One Ring. Whatever the One Ring is for Marvel. The Soul Stone, whatever. The Space Stone. The Purple Man. But I don't have that in here. I had it in here for a second. It didn't seem like I was... It doesn't look like I'm sacking anything to turn it into a Virtue of Persistence. Except Manadorks. And then all I'm reanimating are like funny draft fillers. But I don't know. It's got this cool thing to it that makes it interesting to me. We could end up tripling the amount of cycling cards I add, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it kind of is the next One Ring. Isn't it $100? Isn't it $100? I think it is. Yeah, this the mana cost on this makes Dark Ritual weird. I can always entomb something that attacks my opponent with a significant amount of damage. I'm up against something that probably doesn't care about Chronom, and it is a lot faster than at me ever trying to get Godo to win, so it's not looking great right now. So far, I've presented things that don't matter to my opponent. Except maybe the Manadork. Okay, well, that doesn't matter to me. Let's play this. And then... It's pretty easy to just, like... I think I'm going to cycle for a shock land because my life total doesn't matter. And I don't think I'm going to mill. I don't think I have to mill. Especially without reanimate in my hand. I have a fetch land too. Okay, well there goes my solution to that, of course. Of course they have mana to not care about my commander. Surprise, surprise. So we just cast Entomb this turn. I guess I can play that now instead. Swing and... cast Entomb on something. If they want to leave up a counterspell, then now if they want to do it forever, they can't cast their commander, which I'm sure they would like to. Yep, see, I just avoided a counterspell and still got my commander through, which, to be fair, they probably don't care about that much. Let's go ahead and Entomb... I guess it doesn't really matter what I Entomb. Not really. I guess I could do Summon Bahamut as a persist out. Maybe that's something. Let's get you. Oh! Oh, just how he drew it up. I'm a genius. Oh, I'm a genius. I could... Wait a minute. Is there any way to discard... Oh, no, I can't. If I could discard Godo... I could save No, Persist doesn't hit legendaries. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright, well they didn't concede, so there's an obvious answer to Summon Bahamut. Ideally, it's something that doesn't kill it forever, though. I can recast it. It's not unreasonable to do that. It's another Hexing Squelcher player. Seeing more and more of this card. I mean, I guess it's okay. I don't know. The can't be countered thing has not been particularly enticing to me as a thing in this format. But it's not bad. I'm gonna target it. Wow. Oh, wow. I was about to say, I'm about to untap with Summon Bahamut. That's like a world first. Okay, I don't know what this is. 1/1 Death Touch, being your end step. If a creature died, this perpetually gets... Okay, so it's an ever-growing weird thing. Sure. Another land? Yeah, why not? Alright, this is a weird one. I think I'm going to Dark Ritual out this thing and just get it going. I wish I had it last turn, but... Well, that was easy. Whoop. And then I'd like that, so we keep that on top. I like this a lot, actually. I can put, like, Emrakul on top. Oh, this is a Lurrus deck. Okay. That is a Lurrus deck. Yes, sirree. What if I just Worldly Tutored for a card that I actually want to draw? That could make a lot of sense to me. Both of those are good mills. Love to see that. They can't even mill me here. I don't think they can mill me. They do! Oh! Beautiful. It's hard to not mill when I did that. It's only the second chapter, so, or the second counter. May pay creature enemies from the battlefield. Okay. What does that do? When it dies, make a Cyberling. Alright. Alright, my opponent gave me all the black mana I'll ever need. I suppose. Okay, well, that's the dumb card. And of course they've had some way to gain life. Typical. I'm going into 4 mana. Do I have a land in the graveyard? I do. Ice-Till Explorer is interesting. Crucius is interesting. I guess I'll go with Ice-Till. And then name human? Doesn't matter, really. I'm gonna need to play this. Oh, I milled over Reanimate. That's kind of unfortunate. Opponent is extremely confident when they just milled there. I would not have done that. I would have never have milled there, but they did. Sure. That's a lot of stuff in play. My measly little 2/4. Holding it down, I guess. This can put in a 1-drop. Okay, so they're just putting in a 2-drop. Hopefully it's not, like, busted. Oh, that's annoying. I think I should block this. That's actually really annoying, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that I shouldn't let that exist. That would be a problem moving forward. Alright, so that, and I guess my commander? It is a very large, it's large and in charge right now, I suppose. I'll play the... Oh, well, we can play a land first, because we mill again. It doesn't have to be the thing that mills. Alright, well, that was a good hit. I think it's more interesting than the other thing I was about to hit. Cycle, it gets trampled and indestructible. Alright, so I also have an indestructible clause on my commander. Up to 1 target creature against trample. Till end of turn. What does persist do? Persist doesn't do that much right now. I'm gonna I don't want persist. Well, if they milled, they would have died. They've done that every turn. Okay, what is this? Okay, yeah. Sure. The cycle hath repeat. Gains trample until end of turn. So I should keep this and try to get trample on my opponent's turn? That was not a very good draw. Oh, I can just cast Emrakul. I mean, I think it blows out my opponent enough to actually cast this. I think it does. That's my hot take. And we can swing, because if they don't block it... Wait, I don't care if they block it. I don't care. I suppose I could have swung first, but it doesn't matter. But like, yeah, you just block with... The whole point of swinging is to kill 5 things. I don't need my commander to continue to exist. I just need to kill a bunch of stuff. Because they have a huge problem still sitting here. Neither of those matter. I did miss my opportunity to play Utopia's Brawl, to be fair. They found a land. Toxic Deluge for 16. Cool. Alright. Love it. I have not done that before. I have never got to do that. At least I don't think I have. Oh no. Oh. They drew the planes too, because they have been on these lands for a while. Oh my goodness, that is so funny. Alright, look at that. We played against someone who actually doesn't want to play against this. I'm rather blown away someone is even aware that this exists and has no desire to play against it, but I'll take it. Again, the first time I saw it was 2 days ago, so... Okay. That's funny. Well, that's not going to work out too well. Let's put Summon Bahamut. Could do a Tali. No. Really just want that persist out. And I guess I'll cycle the... Well, there's nothing else. I could just actually play Squee. I could just play this. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's what Slimefoot and Squee does, right? It's annoying to deal with. It's actually, like, super annoying. I'm not hiding this land, I'm just playing it. Sneak attack, okay. Well, Slimefoot has to die for me to do the thing with it. I'm gonna cycle this so I don't run into a sweeper with all of my stuff, because that continuously happens every time I try to cast my commander. Ulamog. 1, 2, 3. It's an out-of-nowhere 7 damage dealer. 7 damage could matter. I'm gonna say it probably does matter to sneak attack that and do 7 for 1 mana, potentially. Right? It's a cast trigger. Yeah, so I don't get any of this fancy text on it. That is maybe not a good idea here? Doesn't that get rid of just Slimefoot? I don't think that was a good idea. Well, if it's all you have, it's all you have. But I think they just cost themselves, like, the entire game there. I don't even care about your shield grid. You can keep it. I don't even want to get rid of it. Especially, the only out I see is a sweeper, and it'll kill shield grid anyways. I might as well blow up the mana. Yeah, I don't think they wanted to do that. Maybe they didn't realize. Or maybe they wanted me to do that, or something, I don't know. It doesn't look like they wanted me to do that, though. I'm gonna blow up the Iron Crag. You gotta do something here. Okay, that gets rid of the last card in my hand. I can sneak attack it out for no reason. Why not? Why not? Just to do it. Doesn't do anything, but there it is, chilling. It gets around a discard trigger, to be fair, I guess. I don't care about Liliana, so that's gonna live. We're just trying to actually kill our opponent. I can't give this haste. I am moderately convinced that maybe killing Alright, I was about to say, maybe killing Liliana here with the summon Bahamut's a good idea. This is a fast ramp, but it's only... It does kind of stop. I do run out of mana, or fast mana, at some point here. Alright, well, I'm still going to make my opponent feel like they're super far behind early, but that might not come to anything. Red. Alright, I have 3 mana turn 1, and my opponent did not give up. If they have no Elemental Blast, I'm probably just going to throw my keyboard. This can't really get destroyed, so I don't know if casting it matters. Let's go ahead and cycle. Swing. Worldly Tutor. That doesn't really do anything. What would I ever put on the top of my deck? 4, 5. Kami? To get lands? I have 4 mana. Ice Steel Explorer? To get lands? Where are you, buddy? There you are. Also, this actually does have 10 power. They kind of have to do something about that. But it isn't a one-shot. It is not a one-shot. I should swing first. Correct. Oh! Still not there. Play with Ice Till. This is lethal. And small. I could have gotten Gulta, but... Alright, well, I was wrong. I'll admit it. I was wrong. Do I not have a green? I do not have a green. Tragic. Alright. I thought I could green Sun Zenith. I still have 3 lethal threats, so... Wormcoil would be enough. Wormcoil would be enough. Nope. Alright. Got it. Alright, well, that did it. Exploration Utopia Sprawl was actually fast enough, but if I didn't draw more mana, I don't know if this was fast enough on its own. Was it? Let me think about it. Was it fast enough on its own there? I cycled the, thing here before they would get to 7 mana. I think it actually was fast enough. I'd have to go back and do math, but if that is the... It's hard to not keep that hand, right? But you can see all... If did they stumble at all? They did technically stumble, right? Turn 2, my opponent did nothing. They didn't play that. Yeah, they didn't play that. They did nothing. This deck almost always does something on turn 2. In fact, I think it kind of has to on turn 2. And if they had the Mana Rock on turn 2, like 99% of Ujin players mulligan for, and they had still things, you know, the remaining ramp spells, they would have had the mana to cast this. Speaking of lame and boring, maybe the Green Sun does something. It is certainly possible. I'm not ruling it out. I think this deck plays counter spells. I think it does. I'm still gonna just get Delighted Halfling. I could get something instead of Delighted Halfling, actually. I kind of like that instead here. Yeah, let's get Kami. That gets the ramp going in a way that can't be killed, and that seems more likely in the against this deck here. Like a lot more likely. Yep. This is not a sapling, right? Nope. So you get the other one. Assemble 4. What's in my hand? That. What is in my graveyard? Godo? That's a 4/4? No, it's better than a 4/4 here, so let's get... Ugh. Oh, all of these are just not... Okay, you know what? I'll take this. That's actually pretty good here, given my hand. Red, black... Okay. How many lands in our graveyard? Just 2? Okay. Again, it's a pretty fast opener, all things considered, from me. I'm blitzing into something that doesn't really impact my opponent, though. But I've set up the universe, more or less. Also, I do have Necromancy. I do just have that. Well, they didn't just discard 2 things to their commander, so either there's too many options, or... Okay. Sure. So I lose now? I don't think there's any conceivable way of respecting that. Okay, I'm a bit confused. I'm a bit confused at this. How do you not just cast Arden here? I don't understand. I do not understand. I think they just threw the game there. I mean, I'm gonna take it, but that seemed like a bit of an oopsie-doopsie. Yeah, I don't know what that was doing. Wasn't I screwed if they just cast it? Exploration actually does like being on the draw, which is pretty cool. I mean, on the play it's gross too, right? But on the draw you're like, oh sure, find more lands or something. I'm gonna try to scry a land on top. Maybe I should have waited until my opponent maybe did something about this, but... Yeah, because we have exploration, we want to draw lands. So, cycle this before I don't cycle it. For you. Let's play one of these. Grief is a good card here. At least I think it is. I can cast it too. I don't have to do the thing. I think I will just hardcast it. I think I will.
Yeah. Feels rather annoying to deal with, so. Removal, Mox Amber. Let's take that. I will keep even more lands on top. That I will not keep. I would love for them to just cast a burn spell on this. Like, they could have actually done this after they cast Ral, so that was a miss sequence? More or less? So I can gamble for... No, that seems ridiculous. Kill that. Maybe I should cycle this. Actually, we could just cast Gamble. I can grab a Cavern. I can grab a 2-mana ramp spell. I can grab Death, actually. Yeah. Oh, we didn't discard the good card. Tragic. Still, you know what? I should maybe respect the... You know what? Maybe I don't respect it. I don't have any respect. My respect is not there. Show me a thing. Okay. They didn't show me it. Alright. Well, I'll take it. I don't care about the 1/1. I'm going to swing. And I don't know what that card is. It could be a Scry 2, Draw 2. If it's a counterspell, I would love to see it thrown here. Okay, it's not. Is it the extra turn thing? Is it the destroy a creature that make a bird or whatever? Raven form? It's been a minute since I've seen Raven form. I blew up the Mox so they can't have any mana when casting their commander. I don't care about this 1/1. Okay, well now the 1/1 is dead and my opponent now must do... Oh, no, it's not dead. No, listen to me. We'll go to combat. I'm not going to cast Gullet. I feel like I need my opponent to have something. Okay. Do I recast it, or do I do something else? I mean, we're here for this commander. I'm just going to cast him. Steal my opponent's mountain. They have to deal with summon they have to deal with both, actually. Both are lethal. Yeah. I don't know what they could have at this point. What was the card? It was an extra turn. Okay. It's the 7-mana one. Does this play the 7-mana one? Well, I mean, this person did, but I don't normally see that one. You see all, like, the 5 manas and the 6-mana one. I suppose the 7 is fine. If you get to it, you're just simply winning with your commander, obviously, but still. Yeah, the burn spells didn't line up too well at all. I think they kept this under the assumption they would be good, and to be fair, 90% of the time they would. If I had, like, Land Rails instead of Exploration. But that just wasn't the case. And, yep. We took the card draw. We took their ability to replace the bad cards, too. I suppose Burst Lightning did do something. It killed my commander. Whereas it otherwise could not have had I killed the Otter. Which, again, it's worth the trade. I'm not going to kill the Otter. I'd much rather deal with the Mox. Killing my commander with the Otter doesn't put him back in the game. Another gamble. Well, no, I can't. What am I talking about? That's not a hand. Oh boy, another one of these hands. Oh boy. Let's get red-green. And play the cheaty card. Name human? Doesn't quite matter? Doesn't quite matter. Reanimate. Worldly Tutor. Alright, well, again, for the 50th time, I am here to do this. I can cast it twice. What do you know? I can reanimate it, and then I can... What if I... Dark Rich... No, Worldly Tutor. Worldly Tutor. Green... Ah, no, I don't have it. Alright. Okay, well, that helps. Do I need this untapped? Black, black, black. 1, 2, 3, I do not. So we can play this. Lumra's good. Lumra's good. It's almost so good that I don't even want to cast my commander. But I have to, like, actually do something right now. I can't just do nothing, so. Oh look, a removal spell. Wow. I'm going to keep that in the graveyard, right? Persist. There's nothing to persist. Let's discard Worldly Tutor. And I guess I'll just run out Exploration for the sake of it. Alright, third time's a charm, surely. I drew a profoundly good card for the situation. I'm not gonna pull the trigger on this if they don't block it. Okay. I would have blocked that. I don't know why I wouldn't have blocked that. That's kind of surprising, huh? Alright. I don't know how you don't block that. 4/7 into a 5/5? They saw what I milled. There was no combat trick or anything. Maybe they're just a... I don't know. I'm blocking. I'm not respecting this. Okay, well. Doing it again. Does it... It does give trample. 12... Okay. Oh, I missed lethal. Tragic. I guess I'll just have to play more Magic. Okay. Giant 8/8 is now in play. But I did miss lethal. Oh, never mind. The Dread Horde just kills him, right? I forgot. I forgore. I don't know. Wait, they didn't block twice. They didn't block twice because I sent in all but lethal, and they could have persisted these and blocked, and they come back with counters. So they just, like, were not dead here on board. Unless, again, they're just somehow magically knew I had a trample combat trick. Alright, I don't know. I think this commander's actually kind of cool. It is doing like its own thing, and I did not at all struggle with giving it any amount of power when it swung. It's just the thing it does is really bad. Especially the fact that like you have to swing with this, and then when it dies, you don't even get to continue casting or like have the option to play the cards that it milled. They're just gone until you cast it again. So like you have to swing with it because it's not an ETB, and you have to have it live to get to the cards. I didn't really think about that until it started to come up more and more. Where like, yeah, I can swing with it, but now I can't cast the cards because it died in combat. Am I going to play a wall of protection spells for this thing? No, I'm not going to do that. This is a format where Tifa would just not care at all. In fact, we played against Tifa, and guess what? It didn't care at all about this. It wants to swing with a large threat really fast, right? Or much faster than us. There's no time to do anything with this card against, let's say, something like Tifa or Rofellos. They just don't care about this at all. I saw a POC player, too. I actually had... I don't know if I'll put it in the YouTube video, but I had like a 20-minute game against a POC player just now, and I Emrakul them. I stole their turn. We could have forced the draw with the Ashaya POC and just like cast it to force a draw, and then we'd just be staring at each other for 10 years, which would be kind of lame, but I'm not going to do that, and I lost. Like, nothing I did mattered against a POC player. Nothing. It was turn 25. I had the entire world at my fingertips. Didn't matter. I was doing everything I wanted to do. Didn't matter. So, I don't know. Actually, you know what? To be completely fair, I don't know where these were in that package of things that were happening. But I think there was a window to, like, tutor for Buried Alive. And I, to be fair, could have, like, got this and reanimated it. That might have been a line that I didn't see in that exact game there. But apart from that, we were just doing this back and forth, reanimate Giant Threat, blow up some of their stuff, reset POC, and it just didn't matter, right? Green doesn't care at all about what we're doing, and it's still 60% of the meta of the field of the format, so the best thing to do is mimic it as close as possible. And it is nice that you just don't need 1,000, like, oh, not that thing, these. I did not have to play 55 cycle cards. In fact, I almost think I don't need any. I really did not at all struggle with giving my commander any power. Oh yeah, I could have, I guess, crocodiled the 500 Scute Swarms and then stab wound them. Well, don't they die though? Oh yeah, they all just die. They would all just die. Yeah, they don't get stab wound. It's not the other one where they would lose life for all the creatures that died. That Massacre Worm would have killed them, not this. I would not play Massacre Worm here. The sneak attack is awkward, especially how, like, the Eldrazi you want to play with Annihilator, you can't play because you don't want to shuffle your graveyard away. You really do not want to shuffle your graveyard away. So, sneak attack, kind of awkward with the other ones. I'm still kind of okay with it, but it felt a little lackluster. Although in general, it has felt lackluster. I think it was that game specifically. Again, that POC game that was 30 minutes. I did gamble for a removal spell, and I'm like, I'll just gamble for a reanimate spell because I have a Tali in my hand. And I actually did discard a Tali, so if I went that route, I would have won before the game took 30 minutes. Would have won there. Journey is extremely slow. Didn't really feel like I was ever going to use this in any meaningful capacity. I never really did use it in any meaningful capacity, unfortunately. I thought there were more, but there aren't. Knife Trick was kind of nice, just discarding a giant card in my hand that I had no other means of discarding it. Felt nice with my commander. There's only that one and I guess Bone Shards. I thought there were more than just these, but apparently there are not. So, kind of funny. A little awkward. All the other ones like Sack Creatures, which we do not want to do ever. So, but I didn't like Faithless Looting, to be fair. I just didn't like it. It didn't feel like it was really mattering that much. But apart from the mono green decks, I actually had a pretty good win rate. I think I did. Yeah. I won more than I lost if we don't count the green stuff. The green stuff really at no point across really all the kinds of green decks. I played against all sorts of different mono green commanders. Then none of them really cared at all about this. At all. If you're both playing solitaire, then your opponent's going to have a better solitaire game. If you're ignoring each other, your opponent is going to ignore you better than you're ignoring them. Even though I guess the combo blitzing to a Godo combo is, something you have that maybe they don't have. But it's hard for that to matter when your opponent has 6 mana on turn 3 and you can't do anything. So it's like you're almost forced, it felt like, at least in, the green matchups. It almost felt like I was forced to just play a ton of interaction, which I'd have to just put a bunch of it in. And I've talked about this before as well. When you do that, your game plan is hindered because you're just trying to stop your opponent from doing theirs, but you're not necessarily advancing your game plan. And the green deck can just keep doing it because it is just like an aggro deck where, like, yeah, you can kill their recurring damage-dealing threat, but they're going to still chip life away at you at an angle that you cannot maybe consistently stop. And let's say Rofellos, the most egregious one right now, does that. It just chips away at you by ramping. Even if you have dealt with like the main ramp source, the main ramp spell, it's going to slowly do the same thing anyways, and you're just running out of time very fast. So, and it doesn't have to actually commit the damage into your face. The damage is just by playing more forests than your opponent has cards in their hand, and they can't do anything. So it's hard to play interaction just so you're at the same pace as your opponent, but you're only casting removal and you're not advancing your board state, while your opponent might just randomly cast a rampant growth that you can't, like, Doomblade or anything, and they're still pulling ahead. And then when the dust settles and you're starting to do your game plan, your opponent has like 9 forests, and they just untap and cast like Ulamog or something, and it's like you didn't even do anything impactful, having killed Llanowar Elves 10 turns ago. So it's hard to do that. It's hard to buy time and also use that time to actually win. Like Ujin, right? You can naturalize all of their mana rocks, but if you're not doing anything else, eventually they're just going to cast Ujin anyways, and what you have nothing to show for it, right? You naturalize 3 times, you cast your commander, and it's swung as a 7/5 twice. Your opponent just plays the 7th wastes and then casts it, and you lose. So it's just not a great way to go about it. I did actually have a fairly good experience against control decks, oddly enough, but I guess that's because control doesn't like to see 5 lands a turn kind of strategies, like big green decks, or like Tron or something. Historically doesn't seem like control likes to play against those big mana decks, and that's the vast majority of the format. Sometimes you can get under all of this by being extremely fast, right? Like Exploration is just so fast that it actually let me beat an Ujin player. And even still is funny, even with Exploration, it felt like it was super close. If my opponent had a 2-mana mana rock that game, I might have actually still lost by like 1 life or something. It's just nuts how like the fast mana is so good that don't be surprised that this isn't like crazy good or anything. I still like it. What it is doing is pretty cool. However, unfortunately, what it's doing is almost done identical to Slimefoot, I feel. After having played it, it felt like Slimefoot could have just been in the command zone, and my deck would have just been a little bit better. Without really... If you were not going to change a single card, but you were looking for a commander that was roughly similar, I think Slimefoot could play... It would obviously play a lot of different cards to just be a better Slimefoot deck. But if you were to just swap them, I think instantly, having done this, the deck is better. It's just better. That's it. Those are the words. That's it. It's better if you do that.
So if you want to play this, you can do that if you want. You can swap them, and then like play this sometimes if you want. And then if you don't want to play that because you keep losing, you can play this and maybe win a little bit more. So, but with that being said, it is cool to have this giant out of nowhere scary thing. I think my favorite cards in this deck were like these two here. I think it's just these two, right? Yeah, these two. Giving it trample and immediately a bajillion power, or this thing with a funny combat trick and also trample for a turn. These were really cool cards with this commander. I must admit, they were cool. And there were a bunch of other cycling cards. If you do cycle spam, you have access to, like, fewer unique cards because you keep cycling, but the cards you're cycling to are stronger. I suppose so. I don't really know what I would take out for these, because whatever you take out is one less powerful card to find. But I will say maybe Journey was way too slow. What else was too slow? Traverse actually felt too slow as well. A lot better in POC than it is this thing. A lot better in POC, but sometimes it's cool, right? You just get 7 lands, and then now you can cast other things normally. You can mimic the decks. It's like build your own Rofellos, I guess. What else? Actually, it's almost exactly like build your own Rofellos. I found myself finding Ice Till Explorer a lot. While that is cool, it is more... You always want to, like, reanimate something that is winning very fast, like a Summon Bahamut is a problem for a lot of decks or something. But I did find myself just grabbing Ice Till with, like, Buried Alive or Entomb, just so I could reanimate fast and blitz out a bunch of mana and whatnot. I guess Gristlebrand could have been in here, but Ice Till Explorer is really, really good with this commander. Really good with this commander. All you have to do is mill, and you can just play one of those cards. I still don't like Mesmeric Orb. While you can cast something of the pile of milled cards were just milled, that is cool. It's inconsistent, and again, helps your opponents a lot. In fact, I think I would have lost even faster against 2 of those 3 decks that interacted with their own graveyard to some capacity. Had I milled them for 20 or whatever, or even more than 20, I would have just lost faster. And I don't think there were any games where if I played it and I was going to win, if I didn't, I would have lost. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. I obviously don't know the context of my opponent's decks, but in games where you would have won, you could actually cost yourself the win by playing Mesmeric Orb. But it does give you access to your opponent's graveyard a little with reanimate spells. Although most of the time you're probably going to reanimate your own stuff because you're also milling with Mesmeric Orb. But because Journey's so slow, an Orb can potentially do something while your commander's in play, I suppose it's worth trying. I don't have a lot of faith in it, but it's, I suppose, worth trying, I guess. You can have a game where you play your commander and your opponent doesn't kill it 5 times in a row, which did happen a lot, and you untap, you just mill a bunch, and you're sitting there with your commander, and now you don't necessarily have to attack because you're just doing this thing, I guess. You still have to find a way to actually win, and this deck can win with damage. This is a lot of damage. I don't feel convinced I want Rancors suddenly, but there is the other one, the Trample Aura. What is it called? What does it do? This thing? So, like, Mesmeric Orb can mill it, and then you can just cast it. I guess Mesmeric Orb with your commander out, you can cast it without putting it to your hand. But this is kind of interesting, I guess. You could just slap that on your commander, suddenly it has trample, and you're milling a bunch, so you're always going to have a big creature in the graveyard, so it's going to swing for like 7 or 8 or something, and now it has trample. It's triggering stuff with its things and whatnot. I don't know. You could put this in the graveyard too. It doesn't let you... Yeah, it doesn't suddenly give these things flash, which now we have to, I suppose, compare it to Azula, right? When Azula gets in the red zone, the game is like over. They have fire breathing, what is it, fire bending 2 or something, and then double all the spells in their hand. This has like, you swing with it, maybe it gets power, and if it survives combat, you now have access to a card from the graveyard, maybe, and most of the time it might just be a land. So, where Azula wins when it attacks, this does not. It doesn't feel fair to compare it to the things you play against all day, because this is not something you see all day, because there are so many things that are way better than this. I don't know if this would be very good in Standard Brawl. I don't think it's legal in Standard Brawl, but there's not a lot of crazy things in Standard that this could like really use. 60 card deck does help it be a lot more, I guess, consistent, but you lose a lot of the fast mana and whatnot, so it just takes even longer to get in play. In a format where everyone's playing Roxanne, I don't think this is going to do much. Or, I guess, Ketramos. Ketramos is still in Standard, right? Yeah. You just kill this over and over. I really don't think you should play protection spells. They just feel awkward. They are, I guess, okay specifically because you can mill them inside of combat, and now you have access to a combat trick, so it lives, but that's all you did with your free spell, is keep your commander alive. Right? It just randomly has a combat trick that kept it alive. That's it. You know, that was the card. That was a card advantage. I don't know. I don't feel like that's a good line to go, especially if you want to cast it on curve all the time. I guess Lightning Greaves is alright. I was playing, what is it? Sylvan Safekeeper with that in mind. So like I guess Lightning Greaves is okay too. Right? Especially if I want to give it haste. I mean, we could just play Lightning Greaves instead. Giving my commander haste is kind of cool. It doesn't really give me access to the cards it mills because I'm tapped out. I cast my commander. It doesn't save you from a removal spell in response. Doesn't stop a counter spell. I don't know. Lightning Greaves isn't as exciting as I thought it would be when it was first released. It hasn't impressed me as much, but there's still commanders where if you slip it on, you're in a much favorable position, like, I guess sometimes Tifa, if it's a Tifa deck that doesn't really target Tifa, it just, like, almost just wins, probably. VV is another huge one, right? But for the most part, I haven't been too blown away with this. Rhythm of the Wild could have helped, maybe, instead of, say, I don't actually even know. What? Maybe Traverse is too goofy? I could just play Rhythm of the Wild and is like uncounterable and has Riot or whatever? Maybe? I suppose. Dark Ritual not helping to be able to cast as fast feels really bad because it's the mana requirement's too steep. I don't know, when it works it's really cool. I think this is a cool commander when it's doing its thing. I'll say that, but you gotta find people who let you get away with that, and those kinds of decks are like not that common, right? I mean, we are playing a format that is somewhat closer to like Legacy, I feel, than it is, say, Modern. And it doesn't let you do things like this. But it is what it is, right? I'm playing a lot of those really egregious things myself. You can play Exploration. Exploration was absolutely disgusting every single game I had it. So we're doing the thing as well. Crucius felt very random. Very random. It's like, I need a removal spell. You're not going to get one. If you say lesser, you're going to get a land. I need Ulamog. You're going to get random draft filler with Cycler in Ulamog. So it felt all over the place. Not really Crucius's fault, though. But still a cool deck. It's cool. It has interesting lines to it. I like Jund piles of things. This is cool. You could definitely play more removal if you wanted to. You could maybe even run board wipes. I don't know if that would save you against the decks that you're losing to. It doesn't save you against like control decks or anything, so I don't really know. You're trying to go like bigger than the decks you would sweep against, I feel. So that is what it is. Still a cool commander. I'd say it's like worth playing if you don't own it. I don't know, but I did have to craft it. I don't regret crafting it. It led to some interesting games. But yep, let me know what you thought about it. If there's like 2 or 3 cards that you find I should have been playing that I just didn't see. All the lists I saw online, which I normally don't look at lists, but I did this time. They were from like 2024. I didn't even know this commander was that old. I didn't know it was in the game. Whoops. But there you go. So if there's like new cards that maybe, or just old cards or something I didn't think about, which I'm sure there were, let me know. But that's that. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.